myself on the stage. Here's what I want to do. We're going to go over and look at something. Make sure that's okay. I'm going to go look at something. I'll show you something that's happening right now, sort of, and it's about the other case that I'm kind of following, not as close as I would like to, but there's just so much not going on in that case because they've not released anything, and that's Nolan Wells. So what we're going to do is we're going to go take a look at Nolan Wells right quick, but I am monitoring to see when they return to court. So we can talk about Nolan Wells for a minute. Now listen, there's a lot of controversy right here on Nolan Wells' case, but one thing that upsets me about this is the fact that we have people over here, as usual, making up whatever they want to make up to say happened in that case when nobody knows anything. Listen, the official autopsy has not been released. The toxicology has not been released, but yet we have people over here making up every kind of, I've seen fake pictures, I've seen fake videos, I've heard from people creating race problems. Everything you can imagine is happening in this case, and it's really disgusting. So what I want to choose to show you this morning is news about the official autopsy, not the parents' autopsy that they had done, that again was incomplete because they did not have all the parts they needed to do it with, because the original autopsy had not been released. Listen, the only way this works is if you let each part finish their investigation first. And then if you want to go behind them and do a second investigation, that's when you do it. You don't do it in the middle of the first investigation because, again, you're not going to be provided with everything you do to make a reasonable decision on what happened. But, I mean, it's all got to be based on facts, right? We don't just all of a sudden think in our mind, oh, I know what happened. No, it's not the way it works. Let me share the screen over here while we wait for court to start, and we'll get going. Anyway, good morning to all. Thank you for coming in as always. This is going to be from Dennis Byron, and it's official news. Autopsy report completed. The death involving Nolan Wells. So here we go. Get over here to where it actually starts. No, I don't want to hear music. I want to hear him actually starting talking. Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Oops.
Wells, and we have an update. Earlier this morning, or late last night, one of my colleagues and NBC as well as TMZ reported that the official autopsy report involving the investigation in the death of Nolan Wells has been completed. The report has been completed, but it has yet to be shared with the family, nor has it been shared. It only has been shared with the district attorney in Mississippi, according to my sources. But at some point, the family must get a copy of this report. And I believe that based on the public interest in this story, I think it would be the responsible thing, at least to give the public a report that obviously will be seen, release it. Even if it's going to be presented to the grand jury, whatever the findings are, you can't change that. So the report needs to be released, fully released, and this helps give some kind of closure, or at least a better understanding to the family of Nolan Wells, as well as the public, because the public interest is very great, very, very serious in this story. I'm seeing all kind of reports of possible foul play, but we can only ascertain that by knowing what the medical findings are and the science behind what happened to Mr. Nolan Wells. Obviously, I have my own opinions, but my opinions have to be supported by hard evidence. These opinions are based on actual witnesses giving statements to a certain individual, and those statements are inconsistent with timelines and now
let me just say this. This is Dennis Byron. I dropped his channel link as well in case anybody wants to go check him out. There are a couple people that I follow that are covering this case. Another one is Brandon Tatum. Now, I like him as well. Brandon Tatum is very unbiased, Dennis Byron might be a little biased, but they are both giving good accounts on what happened. In my opinion, based on what I've heard, you don't have enough information to make a decision one way or the other as to what happened to Nolan Wells. Now, if what some of the people are saying actually happened that day, I can understand what happened here. But if anybody is giving any bit of a false, telling anything that's not exactly true that happened that day, then I would not be able to make any decision at all. The problem is we don't know who's being honest and who's not being honest until they actually release the complete autopsy done by the medical examiner and law enforcement in that county with toxicology. We don't really have answers. We have speculation, we have anger, we have people trying to bring race into it. Now listen, Ocean Springs is a little small area. It's a very tight-knit area. It is a multitude of races in that area. It's not just one or the other. All of the kids that went to the one school were very close. They don't see each other as black, white, gray, whatever. They're just all friends. They played football together. They were going on to different colleges together. These are very intelligent young men that went to that island that day all together on 3 different boats. These are not like typical thug children. I mean, which could be any race. It doesn't matter whether you're black, white, brown, yellow. You could be a damn thug. These are very intelligent children who got into colleges, who were great friends, who played football for years together. They were not just strangers on a boat. So think about that while you listen to all of these reports. Until we have the final, we don't really have an answer, but I'm going to let him keep talking. Here we go.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. I just had a call that came in, and they're on Do Not Disturb, but it's on Do Not Disturb. I don't know how that person was able to get through. But anyway, this is a very important update because today's Friday. It's been almost a month.
Right.
And the natives are getting restless. I'll just say that. The natives are getting restless and want some information, especially on the heels of the report by Dr. Mitchell, the pathologist, Dr. Mitchell, who provided a preliminary independent report to the family. So now we have a completed report by the medical examiner, and it is necessary for that report to be released because whatever the contents of that report, it's not going to change the facts of the case. It's going to just give more information to support whatever the medical findings are. And
And now we're going to switch over to Brandon Tatum. We're going to switch over to the other person that I listened to about this case. His name is Brandon Tatum. He is a former police officer. He does know a little bit about what he's talking about. He's not just like a news person. He's actually been out there on his feet. He's been to the island. He's talked to all these people. He's talked to the parents. He's talked to everybody he could about this case. So let's switch screens right quick. I am watching the other screen to see if and when they start back the live trials. Let's go listen to this right here. This is going to be Brandon Tatum. He is a former police officer, and let's go.
Him and we're his friends.
And they were his friends.
Y'all don't want Nolan to have a voice. Y'all want Benjamin Crump to have a voice. All of these kids are saying the same thing, but the parents are saying something different. Oh, we don't know these kids. They got photos of them at prom and everything. Look at the picture that they're framing. Put it up there. This is our next topic. Where are the black kids at? Y'all have, the only pictures that I see with Nolan is with these white kids. He got a few with a few black kids, but the majority of his pictures are with these boys. Just because you don't pay attention to your kids enough to know all of their friends, you think these boys just lying? Like, for instance, if they had no pictures with Nolan, like all the pictures I've seen and they had all over the internet, prom, everything, they had no pictures with Nolan, and they were like, we're best friends with Nolan, I'd say, I don't know about that, bro. That don't sound a match. But all the boys I talked to said they're great friends with Nolan. Trayston, who wasn't even on the boat, he came on a boat with his uncle and left because he got into a fight with somebody. Even Trayston said.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to drop, this is Officer Tatum's channel right here. I'm going to drop it for you. If you're not here, go check him out. Listen to his coverage on the Nolan Wells case. He's very unbiased. He's talked to everybody out there. And listen, I like both channels, but I have to wait until I have the complete autopsy report with the toxicology before I can decide anything about this case. And that's the way everybody should look at it, in my opinion. You cannot speculate what happened on that island. None of us were there. Okay, so we're going to listen to him for a few minutes while we wait on the trial to start again.
We're all friends, and we're all friends with Nolan. We hang out with him all the time. He showed me pictures of him and Nolan, I think at prom or something. I'm like, they don't seem to be lying. Why is the family acting like these weren't his friends? Anyway, let me get to let's go to verdict real quick. If you guys are looking for a good quality bourbon, and it's ironically enough, the name is Verdict. But if you're looking for a good bourbon, interested in bourbon and that's your thing, go to Verdict Bourbon. Benjamin Crump 4 times over the last week or so, 2 weeks, week or so. They responded back to me. Do we have that in our arsenal or we deleted it?
But let me say this. And this is, as a mother who's lost a child, nobody was ever held responsible for what happened to my child. I can understand the parent being so upset that you want to know, you want somebody to be responsible. You want somebody to be held accountable. You can't believe something could happen to your child and nobody could be held liable. That, I understand it, I do. But in this case, I really wish, instead of dragging in Al Sharpton and dragging in this Crump dude and setting up a GoFundMe and trying to make $1 million off the death of their child when they have no idea what happened to him. They weren't there. The people who were there with him left the island at 4:30. He was still on the island with other people. But you're over here wanting to blame these children, claiming they left him. They didn't leave him. You can hear them asking him, get on the boat, asking, come on. He didn't want to leave because he was there with other people as well. This group of people went to this island in 3 different boats. But because one of the boats started having a problem, they left to get the boat fixed. Now, these are 18-year-old kids, 19-year-old kids. They don't own these boats. They belong to family members, grandpas, things like that. I can understand them. Hello, this is a $50,000 boat. I need to get it back to my grandpa because something's wrong. You just got to look at the whole picture. Please do not ever start putting race into something where it does not belong. In my generation and many other generations past our parents, people have started raising their children where there is no color, because really, we're all people. When you slit that skin, it's red blood, no matter who you are, no matter where you came from, it's red blood. So these people trying to make this about race when race has nothing to do with it has only made this worse. Does racism still happen? Yes. Do I believe it in this group of people? No. Again, these children spent a lot of time together. They played football together. They spent the night at each other's houses. They did everything together in that little town. The name of the town is Ocean Springs. Anyway, let's listen to Officer Tatum for a minute. Here we go. And then we're going to get back and check out and see when our live trial is going to start again. Here we go.
They responded back to me and said, the family is not doing any media interview. We never asked to really talk to the family. We wanted to talk to the attorney first because he's the gateway to the family. And if
that's true. Oops, what are we doing here? Well, let's see. It's starting to stop. Okay, let's see what's going on here. There.
It's gonna be controversial. Yeah. I just know it's no way in the world that I'm not gonna say, why are you going straight to race on this thing? Why didn't you talk to these boys? Why didn't you talk to their attorneys? Why didn't you interview them? Why did your office not interview with me? We didn't have to do it. We didn't have to do it publicly.
Right.
We could have got on the phone and you could have told me, well, what did the boys tell you? What evidence do you have, Mr. Tatum? Send it to us. We ain't even got to talk. He could have said, send me the text that you saying that the boys are saying and let the family evaluate it. But he said they didn't want to do an interview, but they went on Cuomo's show. I'm just throwing it out there, roll it.
Elmore, you heard that kid Trace in the interview say that he was friends with Nolan and that you guys would know him. Do you know him? Do you recognize him?
No, I don't. Just because you park your vehicle in someone's yard doesn't mean that they have to know you. Sounds more to me like he's more focused on getting people to know him and getting away from the fact that his so-called best friend is not here anymore. Everyone that they may have interviewed are at home.
I totally disagree with what the guy's saying. Listen, these kids, again, all went to school together. They played football together. They're all going to different colleges. They graduated together. They spent a lot of time together. And let me tell you something. Yes, my child knows a lot of people. He went to elementary. He went to junior high. He went to high school with all these same kids. Did they all go to the same college? No, because they were not all at the same intellectual level either, But do I know the kids? Yes. Do I know their parents? No. Do I know exactly what kind of car each child drove? No, I did not. But I do know the children. I mean, there was children in this house every weekend from the time my child was, in fourth grade all the way up. So yes, you may not know their families, but you will know the child. Okay. And I think that's where some of the confusion is happening here. Here we go. Let me get this to you. Come on, little mouse. Here we go.
Son isn't. Our son should be in college right now. We should be receiving phone calls from him about how his day went. But we can't. And we just want everybody to focus on what the real subject matter is.
Understood.
And that is
Understood.
Now let's put this in perspective. I don't know these people. I've met Trayston. Trayston could be deceiving me. It's highly unlikely that he is because he has shown evidence to me and he has given an articulable reason why he believed Nolan was his best friend. He told me he spent nights over their house. So therefore, put it back on the screen. Trayston said, I parked my car in their yard a few times. So the father is acknowledging that part is true. So why would parking a car in the yard be true, but everything else Trayston said is not true? I mean, this is just me observing this. I don't know. Trayston could be lying, or they could be lying. I don't know neither one of these people. But Trayston seems to have a far more articulable response. Why is Trayston in pictures with Nolan all the time? Why would Trayston say that he's Nolan's best friend and Trayston had nothing to do with this? Trayston wasn't even on any of the boats. Trayston wasn't even in any of the pictures. Trayston is not even being accused of killing Nolan. Trayston is not even really involved in nothing but clarifying things. So why would Trayston go, Nolan was my best friend and wop, and Trayston is not even a person that has a reason to lie about that? Now, I think the family has a reason to downplay his involvement because he's saying something contrary to what they're presenting to the world. Trayston gave me a full interview about a lot of details about Nolan and the family. Now, maybe they didn't perceive that Trayston was Nolan's friend, but Nolan.
Here's the thing, though, when you're in the middle of grief, and they are in the middle of grief, their child is gone. He had a promising future. He was headed to the university, already committed to play football. They don't have the answers that they want. Of course they're upset. They're going to be upset. There are 5 stages of grief that people actually talk about, and it's absolutely real. They're in the middle of the beginning stages of grief. They want answers. I mean, you get angry. You want answers. You're hurt. You feel like nobody can help you. And I mean, that's all true. And I understand why they are so upset. But when you start trying to lay blame on everybody else except the child themselves, and I am not victim blaming, you know, I'm 100% against victim blaming. But sometimes our children choose to do things that put them at risk and something happens. It happens every day in every city, in every nation in the world. It happens and it hurts. It's sad. And you can't change what's happened. You can't say to your child, hey man, don't get on that boat left of that island with your friends today, even though you did it last 4th of July and the 4th of July before that, because they've been doing this for many years together. It's like a tradition, right? But the final year after they graduated, there was a tradition of the July the 4th weekend trip out to the island to have a good time. There was underage drinking. There was a lot of things happening on that island. That island was packed with people. It's not like there was only 3 boats out there. There was hundreds of people out there. And with all the alcohol and things going on in that island with all the people, if you have seen any of the pictures from the island, and you've got boat after boat after boat in a small space of water, one on top of the other, and nobody's really paying attention to what the other person is doing. Each little group is doing their own thing. They're intermingling with other people. It is like a big, it's a big party. It's just in the water. It's not in somebody's backyard, or it's not over at, the school. It's just a big party over at this little island, off of, that barely has any cell service. It's just not what people think it is. And so I wanted to touch on Nolan Wells for a minute today, but let's go ahead and we'll take this off of here and we'll start talking about the Lindsay Clancy case instead. Okay, so here we go. Let me get us back over here to Lindsay Clancy. Now, Lindsay Clancy, let's talk about that for just a second. Hang on a minute. I don't know if anything you may have watched. Why is this so small like that? Let me see if I can fix this a minute. Hang on, guys. It looks small to me. Maximize. What is this? I want to get rid of that. Okay, maybe make it bigger now. It needs to be bigger. What is going on here? Okay, let me see if we can make the layout bigger. No, cancel. Okay. This is so weird. I don't know why it looks like this. Okay. There we go. Let's see if this takes care of it. All right. I think this might be the answer to what. All right. There we go. That is much better. Okay. There. Let's talk about Lindsay Clancy. So we've heard 10 witnesses so far. I am keeping up with the witnesses, what their names is, and what they're bringing to the case, so that we can actually have a real discussion about this case. So it was pretty damning yesterday what we learned. I was thinking to myself, ooh, okay, what we learned yesterday was the cuts on her wrist and the cuts on her neck were basically superficial. They required no sutures. There were no immediate sutures to those. They taped them up, but they weren't even bleeding. Now, the defense attorney tried to stand and say, wait, she was cold. It was due to hypothermia. It was due to this. It was due to that. No, I'll tell you what, no matter how cold your body is, if you have a cut that is into an artery, it is going to be spurting blood at you no matter how cold it is. Those were superficial wounds. They're there, but they were superficial. Another discussion yesterday about this case was when they started talking about the drugs. What drugs were in her system, what drugs were not in her system. I found that to be pretty damning because as they discussed in day 1 and day 2, that as she was taking these drugs, they found that in each one of these bottles, there was only a few pills left. I mean, a few pills taken out, which tells me she never took enough of one medicine to actually get any type of treatment from the medicine. So she would document everything. One of the things else I noticed about this is with her documenting everything, she's leaving instructions for whoever's helping her with the children. And just like Patrick said, well, he would have done the same thing as far as leaving instructions for whoever's taking care of the children. Write this down, write that down. Be very detailed about it because it is your children. But here's the flip side to that. When you have a person who is so overbearing, micromanaging every minute of every moment of a child and the nanny's day, which I know it's your children, but that tells me that there's something else wrong. Why does a person need to have so much control? What is that? Okay, because we've seen this before. I'm going to pull something up over here while we talk about it. Hang on a second. Yeah, let me pull this up. It's very important to understand. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a mom. I'm just an empty nester mom who enjoys talking about true crime and talking about people. I enjoy reading. I enjoy learning new things. But when you have a controlling person that also may have bipolar, which is what we understand, they're saying she was treated for the wrong thing. It opens up, it's a Pandora's box that once you open it, you're going to see all kinds of problems. And I think that's kind of what's happening here. So let me pull this up over here while we talk about it. It's when they snap, it's when you have an issue. That is what I think kind of happened over here. Signs of bipolar. Okay, hang on. Come on, little mouse, get over here and let's do right. Okay, now, let me pull this up. I'm going to change screens for just a second. And we're going to look at something else. We'll be back. I don't know what time they're going to start back from. Okay, so they left the courthouse and they were going to the home of the Clancys. Then they were going to the restaurant and they were going to the CVS. Now, I don't know why they're doing all this. To me, it makes no difference. It's not going to change one thing about what happened in this case. Because the question is, was she sane or insane on the day that she killed the children and then she went out the window? That is the question in this case. It really has nothing to do with how far it was to CVS or how far it was to the restaurant or what times the babies were finished eating or who was eating. It has nothing to do with that, right? So let me share the screen over here for this. Come on, mouse. My little mouse wants to act up today. All right, let me get on down here. Right here is what I want to talk about. Now, let me go back. Not that one. Okay, it's this right here. All right, now. Oh. Here we go. I'm going to share that screen. Okay, now. What I'm sharing with you today is bipolar manipulation. And that's what we have here. Because one of the things that happens, and I believe that the decline go away. I believe because based on what we saw with how detailed she was with the kids, how every minute of every day was managed, she was very, very controlling. Now, manipulation is not a behavior, it's not a diagnostic criterion for bipolar disorder or mood episodes, but can drive the actions that only appear controlling. Bipolar symptoms can impact judgment, memory, communication, leading to cleanliness, pushiness, or conflict without malicious intent. Now, relationship stress may rise during mania or impulsivity and overspending, and depression, withdrawal, and low connection. So these are just patterns. And bipolar and trauma or co-occurring personality disorders can complicate the dynamics, making assessment and integrated treatment essential. What does bipolar manipulation mean? Often it's unintentional behaviors rooted into stress, dysregulation, and not a calculated harm. So one of the things that I believe happened here, in this case, was yes, I believe she was suffering from some kind of bipolar, but there was the manipulative behaviors in her bipolar because she was not receiving the correct treatment for the bipolar. Now, there is a difference between psychosis and being bipolar, right? And they had made discussions about, well, maybe the medication she was being given really did not treat bipolar. It was really treatment for something else. My question today is it psychosis or was it pure evil? See, that we don't know, because when you talk about a psychosis, you're talking about somebody who, when they choose to do something, it doesn't matter whether you're there or not, they're going to do it. So think somebody out to get food, medicine, whatever the little route was that she planned for him. And then saying, well, there was something in my head telling me I need to do this right now because it's the last chance I'm going to have to do it. Is that psychosis? Is that, yeah, it's different, right? We know that she's having some kind of problem. But see, in a psychosis, I don't believe those people know, they don't remember, and they don't know whether somebody's home or not. They just do whatever they're going to do, and that's that. But she consciously knew he wasn't there. Now, if you remember the testimony, when Patrick said, I believe it was on day 2, that it was about a week later, she called him from the hospital. And what she talked about was herself, nothing about the children. And she told him, oh, I was having a psychotic episode. Here's my question. How does Lindsay Clancy know that she was in the middle of a psychotic episode? Did somebody tell her that? Did she assume that? How would she know that? And why would she tell Patrick this a week later? And question number 2, why would she not mention one thing about those children and what happened to them whenever she talks to him a week later? Could she not even say, I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I would never kill our children. Nothing. It was all about her, what happened to her. Not one word about these babies. That is bothering me. It's bothering me a lot, a whole lot. It's making me wonder. It's making me question. So if you've ever felt confused or hurt by a loved one with bipolar disorder, just know that you're not alone. Bipolar disorder behaviors that may seem at first glance as controlling or demanding are often actually linked to mood swings or emotional regulation problems. Now, while relationship challenges may feel overwhelming, understanding what drives these behaviors can help improve communication, reduce stress, and enable you both to feel supported and seen in your relationship. While mental health professionals can offer personalized advice for bipolar disorder symptoms, it can also help you better understand bipolar and manipulative behaviors by exploring these things. What manipulative behavior really is, common relationship challenges in bipolar disorder, effective treatment options for managing bipolar symptoms, practical coping strategies for bipolar disorder in relationships, stigma and misunderstanding of bipolar disorder, and where to find professional support for managing bipolar disorder. The reason why I want to talk about this is because they're saying she actually had bipolar all along, but had not been properly diagnosed with bipolar. They are trying to say that the medication was given to her was not what you treat bipolar with. It just made her worse. And I would like to believe that. And I could believe that if, in fact, she actually took enough of any one medication to treat her symptoms at all, but she didn't. When you take 6 pills out of one bottle, 5 pills out of another, now you got to remember, she wrote down on each one of these, she had a notebook, and she would take the medication and then write down how she felt after she took the medication. That is the level of control that she took on a daily basis. Why did she need to have such control? What was going on in her mind? That to me is important. And it's part of what's going on here. So let's talk about mental health care. All right, here we go. Look. On now. Okay, so this is a place that actually treats this type. This is called the AM/FM healthcare, and they treat bipolar, and they start by assessing and they give personalized treatments. They find the program that fits right for the person, and then the person goes and starts the therapy or the program. In their program, they like to use therapy, group work, skill building, and psychiatric care, because in a person that has bipolar that also has other underlying mental disorders because they go hand in hand. It's usually not just one. It's going to be one with personalities of another. That's usually how it works. I think that was what was going on with Lindsay Clancy. I really do. I believe that is what happened here. And I believe that how can I say? Let me share my screen. I don't believe that she wanted to necessarily take the children's lives. That's not what I believe happened here. What I believe happened here was she got to a point where it was overwhelming for her. She felt so overwhelmed and she made the wrong decision here. Was it an accident? I can't tell you that because I don't really know. Was it intentional? I can't tell you that because I don't really know. We have not heard enough of the testimony to actually be able to say yes or no on that. So I put a poll out there today when I announced that I was going to do day 4 here. And I was asking everybody to just answer the poll. It's on my community post over there. Do you think we have enough information to make a decision about was she pure evil or was it maybe a psychosis? My answer was number 3. We don't have enough information yet to make a decision. When I first started listening to the case on day 1, when I put a poll out there, I said, oh no, she's pure evil. But as time goes on and we hear more information, I'm not saying that she's not guilty because she is guilty. Everybody knows she's guilty. Everybody knows she did take the lives of the children. Everybody knows how she took the lives of the children. But what we don't know is what was happening in her head and in herself to push her over the edge, because that's what I believe really happened here. I don't believe it was a psychosis. I don't believe she was psychotic. I believe that she became overwhelmed because at last she was there by herself, and then it was up to her to take care of all the children's needs by herself on a daily basis, because she had help on and off. As long as she complained about symptoms, her mother would be there, her father, somebody would be there. Now, Patrick worked at home. He had an office in the basement, and he was there, but he really was not able to just run upstairs and help her all day long with these children. Somebody had to work. He is the person with a job. He brought the money in to take care of this family. And it's not that Patrick didn't care, because he cared. He tried. He made several, he did whatever he thought she wanted to do about her mental illness to get her help. No man thinks that his wife is going to kill their children. It's just not something your mind lets you think is going to happen. Look at Al Stouch. Al Stouch had every red flag in the world. And yet he really thought no matter what crazy old Letitia was doing, the one thing she would never do was take the life of one of his children. But he was wrong. He was wrong. In this case, I'm not saying Patrick Clancy was wrong for anything, because he's not wrong. But he failed to realize that she was absolutely capable at that time of doing the most heinous and cruel act she could have ever done, which was to kill her children in that home and then go upstairs and jump out the window. Now, I think there's some misinformation about the jumping out the window as well, because the window was not 20 feet up. It was only 12 feet up. Is a 12-foot drop out of a window dangerous? Absolutely, 100%. Could it kill someone? It could, but the likelihood of it killing someone is I'm going to say maybe 10%. The other 90% is that somebody's going to be injured. Now, the likelihood that somebody's going to be paralyzed from it, even less. The percentage is even less because it's a 12-foot drop. The difference is it was hard-packed snow that she landed on. Okay, so you got to think about that too. Just a lot of it's like there was all these things going on in that house, and all of a sudden you had a mix of gasoline and a lit match, and right then it exploded, and that's what happened in this house. That is not psychosis. That is not psychosis. That's the one thing I do know. I'm not going to sit here and say that she's not mentally ill, because obviously she was mentally ill. Okay. So while we wait, I think I'm going to play some more music, and I'm going to go do a couple of things and try to figure out what time they're going to start back. It is 10:08 Texas time, which means it's 11:08 or 11:09 in Massachusetts. I don't know if they're going to go to lunch before they come back and actually start the live trial this afternoon or not. We will be on witness number 11 is going to start the day today. I don't know who it is yet, but we will find out. So we are on day 4. We've heard from 10 witnesses in this trial so far. The prosecution has 161 witnesses that they plan on bringing, okay? And you're going to hear today the defense attorney upset because he doesn't want each one of these witnesses to talk, because every time one of these witnesses talk, they start talking about what they saw that day. What they saw that day stays in their mind forever. They're always going to remember seeing those little babies over there, the colors they were, the condition of Patrick, the condition of each one of these children. And every one of these children's lives need to be discussed. You can't just sit there and say the children, because they're all people. Each one of these children had a life. Each one of these children need to be discussed. That's what's fair. Do not, but this attorney, her attorney, doesn't want them discussed because it makes her look bad in front of the jury. She did the act. It doesn't matter who she was, what she was. She did the act. She's going to look bad no matter what is said. There's no way to paint a beautiful, rosy picture of somebody who was able to kill each one of their children with an exercise band wrapped around their neck, left on them, and then go upstairs, move the bed away from the window, and go out the window. She describes it as she flung herself out like she was Superman. That is not exactly true. I want y'all to remember that as you listen to the testimony in this trial. But she flung herself out the window like she was Superman or Spider-Man or whoever. You would not hear them talk about she was holding on with her fingers to the window, because there would be no need to hang onto the window with your fingers if you're flinging yourself out like you're Superman. Okay, so that's not exactly true. Which, had she flung herself out of the window like she was Superman, I believe she might not have survived. But she dropped down out of the window, holding on with her fingertips, is the reason why she survived. That's what I think happened. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a mom with a YouTube channel who enjoys talking about true crime, the appeals process, execution, what happens in execution, when is it fair, when is it not fair, how many years should somebody sit on death row, those kind of things. That is really what my channel is about. So let me turn on some music while we wait. I'm going to go and see if I can figure out from some of my other friends who are live streaming if they know about what time court is going to start back. So just give me a few minutes. I'm going to turn on the music, and we'll just enjoy a little bit of time while we wait. Thank you for your patience. As always, I appreciate seeing every one of you. I'm going to put we're going to put this on while we wait, so you can see that, for our fair use notice, because that's very important as well. Let's go get a little bit of music playing. What we would like to hear. Screaming Man. What's this? All right. Here we go. We'll go on with our music tracks. Here we go.
the GL whip. Kenny Red Flash with a turbo kick. Lil Laredo, yeah, the name's on fire. Burning up the road, taking dreams higher. 0 to 100, no time to stall. Every frame, every post, yeah, he does it all. From the streets to the screen, he's got that glow. Welcome to the ride, it's Lil Laredo. Red line dreams, we don't slow down. Engine roar when we hit your town. Next six stars so sharp like a midnight show. All gas, no brakes, little no. Gas, no brakes, little no. Drift through life with a fearless tone. Every move custom, every vibe is on. Not just a car, it's a way of life. Precision, passion, cutting like a knife. Headlights blaze through the doubt and fear. He's the one they watch, the one they cheer. So buckle up tight, let the legend grow. You're in the fast lane with Lil Laredo. Dreams, we don't slow down. Engine roar when we hit your town. Style so sharp like a midnight show. All gas, no brakes, little Ryo.
A little GR, yeah. Lil GR, yeah. Lil Word rolling in the GR86. Red paint popping like a flame in the mix. Tie spin up when the beat kicks in. Channel so bold it could shake your screen. True crown queen with the turbo heart. Story telling fire like a work of art. Hit that live button, watch the sparks ignite when Lyra shows up. It's a whole new night. Lil GR86, yeah, she flying down the lane. Engine roaring like the story's running wild in the brain. Hit the gas, hit the lights, let the whole world see. This is Lil Word, baby, and she's running full speed. Yeah, and she's running full speed. Yeah. From room 313 to the courtroom floor, she breaks down mysteries you can't ignore. Both thumbnails, neon glow. When Lil Doe goes live, everybody wants more. Pedal to the metal with the truth she brings. Justice in her voice when the live stream sings. GR86 with the custom shine. Lil Jer's channel, one of a kind. Lil GR86, yeah, she flying down the lane. Engine roaring like the story's running wild in the brain. Hit the gas, hit the lights, let the whole world see. This is Lil Word, baby, and she's running full speed. Buckle up, turn the volume up, and don't blink, cause Lil Word's about to take you for a ride. Lil GR86, she's the queen of the scene. True crime stories with the supernatural sheen. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, come ride with me. Lil GR86, where the mystery meets speed.
All right, we're about to start again. Here we go. Let me share my screen, and we are off to the trial, day 4 of Lindsay Clancy's trial. Here we go, guys. Let me turn this up. Okay, court is beginning. We are back in court, guys. Back in court. So here we go. All right, why am I not seeing this? Okay, there we go. We're ready to go. Come on in, come on in. It's time to get started again. We're back in trial. All right, there we go. Let me get myself over here situated and ready to be with you guys. Hope you enjoyed a little bit of the music I played this morning while we waited. Okay, let's go over here. Okay, looks like they are going. Mouse. Okay, day 4, Lindsay Clancy trial right here. We are going to be starting with witness number 11.
This court's now in session. Please be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including all 18 jurors.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Members of the jury, we're now going to return, as I told you before, to the Commonwealth's case, and I'll ask the Commonwealth to call their next witness.
The Commonwealth would call Mark Anthony Maffio to the stand.
While we're waiting, you want to just, for the record, same objection and standing objection, so.
All right.
That keeps.
Of course he objects. He's going to object to every single witness.
All right, good morning, sir.
Your Honor.
All right, Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jury your first and last name, please?
Yes, Mark Anthony Maffio.
And how about spelling your last name for the purpose of the record?
Maffeo.
And where are you employed, sir?
Duxbury Police Department.
How long have you been a police officer?
12 years.
And has your career been with the Duxbury Department, or do you work anywhere else?
I worked in Rockland and Cohasset prior to Duxbury.
So how long have you been at Duxbury Police?
9 years.
9?
Yes.
What's your current rank or assignment at the Duxbury Police Department?
Patrol Sergeant.
And I'm going to draw your attention back to January of 2023. What was your assignment then?
A detective.
Were you working on January 24th of 2023?
I was not. I was called in to work.
Okay, so who contacted you?
At the time, it was Detective Sergeant Jamali.
And is that the normal course in Duxbury when a larger incident or investigation occurs, that sometimes you'd be called in to work a scene if you're not on shift?
Yes.
And Detective Jamali, where did he tell you to go?
Initially was reported, I believe it was 42 South Summer Street in Duxbury.
And so do you recall if you went to that location?
I did.
When you arrived there, was the scene still active, meaning there were still kind of ambulances and everything on scene?
Yes.
Did you go into the house?
Not at that time, no.
Were you advised when you arrived on scene that one of the parties was being sent to the South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And so as a result of that information, what did you do?
I was then tasked with going down to South Shore Hospital.
Now, when you went to South Shore Hospital, did you know the party that was going to be transported there?
Yes.
Who was the party that you were going to meet?
I was advised it was one of the homeowners, Lindsay Clancy.
And you later became aware that the home at 47 Summer Street was the home of Patrick and Lindsay Clancy, correct?
That's correct.
And again, you were also later made aware that they had the 3 children.
Correct.
Were you advised of where the 3 children were?
Yes.
And how about the husband? Were you advised of where Patrick Clancy was?
I was.
As far as the people transported to South Shore Hospital, you came to learn that only Lindsay Clancy was sent to that location, correct?
That's correct.
Did you expect somebody else to be arriving there?
Initially, before I had left the residence, it was a little bit of confusion. They thought that the husband was also being transported to South Shore.
And at some point, were you later advised that that ambulance was turned around and sent to Beth Israel in Plymouth?
Correct.
So when you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have an opportunity to observe Lindsay Clancy?
I did.
In what condition was she when you observed her at South Shore Hospital?
She appeared sedated and unconscious with several lacerations to her arms and neck.
I have no objection to the photographs.
May I approach the witness?
You may.
I'm going to show you 4 photographs real quick. If you could take a look at those.
Yep.
Do you recognize the individual in these photographs?
I do.
And were you present when these photographs were taken?
I don't recall.
Okay. As far as the condition that the person in these photographs was in, do you recall this to be a fair and accurate representation of what she looked like?
Yes.
I would ask to review these for
All right, those may be admitted.
Through 113. Sir, if I could just draw your attention to the screen beside you. I'm showing you now what's been marked as Exhibit 110. And who is the individual depicted in this photograph?
Lindsay Clancy.
And those are the injuries that you observed that day of her on her neck?
Correct.
And showing you on the screen what's been marked as Exhibit number 111. Again, is that Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
And the injuries that you observed on January 24th on her neck?
Correct.
And 112, Exhibit 112, in the middle of this photograph with an arm extended, there are some cuts and a cut in the middle. Did you observe those on January 24th as well?
I did.
And finally, Exhibit 113, that would be the other arm. Did you observe those cuts to that arm?
Yes.
Now, in addition to observing her at South Shore Hospital, did you do anything to collect potential evidence that day?
I did.
And what did you do?
I gathered, I believe they had been removed from the hospital staff, clothing, pants, shirt, I believe it was a scarf, and wedding bands.
Okay. May I approach again?
You may.
I'm just going to show you 7 photographs. If you could take a look at those. Are these 7 photographs familiar to you? Are the items depicted in these photographs familiar?
Yes.
I'd move to admit these as the next exhibits, please.
Any objection?
I have no objection to any of the photographs.
They may be admitted.
It should be 114.7. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Reporter.
Now, sir, the items that you then collected, you said that they were provided to you. Who gave them to you?
It was one of the hospital staff.
Okay, and so in examining those, you would agree that those items had been cut off of the individual.
Correct.
And so after taking custody of those particular items, did other law enforcement arrive at South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And who arrived?
Trooper Lawler from the Mass State Police and Officer Lepard from the Duxbury Police.
And again, you had been at the scene at 47 Summer Street, correct?
Correct.
And then you went to South Shore Hospital. Were other members of the at the Summer Street address and at other locations during the time you were at the hospital?
I would believe so, but I'm not positive.
And were you aware that the state police had become involved in this case?
Yes.
And based on your experience as a Duxbury officer, do you sometimes work in tandem with the state police on certain types of investigations?
We do.
And so when Trooper Lawler arrived at the hospital, did you turn over these items to him?
I did.
Now, in the time that you were at the South Shore Hospital, did you have the opportunity to speak at all with Lindsay Clancy?
No.
In the time that you observed her, was she responsive at all?
No.
Was she in custody at that point?
I would say yes.
Well, let me ask you this. As far as when you're in custody, you usually advise them that they are, correct?
Correct.
I get him saying that he's not sure his answer.
Oh, here we go again. Mr. I've got to complain about everything.
When your department has somebody in custody, is it protocol to have an officer stay with that individual?
Yes.
And in this case, was somebody assigned to stay with Lindsay Clancy?
Yes.
At the time you were at the hospital, was that your role?
Yes.
At some point, did someone else from your department come to keep watch?
Yes.
Who was that person?
I believe it was Officer Lepard. I know Officer Broderick was also assisting. I can't recall if he arrived at the hospital as well.
Okay, but you recall Officer Lepard?
Yes.
And once the scene was secured at South Shore Hospital, did you leave?
I did.
And where did you go?
Back to the address in Duxbury.
And that would be 47 Summer Street, correct? I think you might have said 42 at one point.
You're right. Yep. 47 Summer.
And at the residence at 47 Summer Street, did you assist other Duxbury officers in securing the scene upon the arrival of the crime scene services?
Yes.
Were you present when the Massachusetts State Police Detectives Unit executed a search warrant at 47 Summer Street?
I was.
And was that kind of later that night into the early morning hours of the 25th?
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
Counsel?
Could I see the exhibits that were just introduced? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Morning.
Good morning.
I've got a couple of other photographs that I'd like to, just since you were at the hospital at South Shore, if I could.
Sure.
Is that what Lindsay's condition was when you went in the hospital and saw her?
I don't recall those being on her legs, but I'm not 100% sure. But other than that, yes.
Other than that, yes.
Correct.
So I would offer that, Your Honor, if I could.
Any objections?
May we approach?
Sure, yeah.
Hey, Cinderella, so good to see you, friend. Yeah, I just played a lot of music this morning while I waited for them to get back after their little viewing, which I think the viewing was a complete waste of time.
That may be admitted.
Good to see you.
Sure, yeah, if you want to do that.
You at some point had a chance to take a look at her face, I imagine, sir.
Correct.
Is that fair and accurate depiction?
Yes,
And she was unconscious at that point, was she not?
that's correct.
About this jam.
All right, that may be admitted.
And this, you said that there was some cuts on her wrist. That's a fair and accurate depiction.
Correct.
And cuts on the neck as well.
Correct.
And from the other side, from the front.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
All right. All right, those photos may be admitted.
Thank you. And I'm just showing you another exhibit. This would have already been introduced into evidence, and this would be Exhibit 112. And this would also depict the area of the wrist. Is that correct?
Correct.
The cut was likewise, Exhibit 111 also shows the cuts on the neck. Is that correct?
Correct.
Now, when you went to the house, you were a detective at this point, correct?
Correct.
And obviously, you're working in tandem at this time with the state police. They were also investigating, right?
Correct.
But you were the detective for the town of Duxbury.
One of them, yes.
One of them, okay. And one of the things counsel had asked you about was the clothing that Lindsay was wearing, and it was cut off, right?
Correct.
So I'm just going to show you and ask if this appears to be a fair and accurate depiction, rendition of, for example, one of her items of clothing.
Yes.
Okay, well, I don't know that, so I'm just going to make sure it's in, that's all. Does that show that there's blood on that item of clothing?
Not that I see.
Okay. Was there some type of residue of paint or something on the clothing, if you recall?
I don't recall, no.
No. Did you notice on the pants any blood on the jeans? Well, if you recall.
I don't recall, no.
How about the, I guess it would be the top that was worn? Did you notice any blood on that?
No.
Was there a bra that was cut off, if you recall?
Yes, there was.
And the blood seeped through the clothing into the bra itself? Is that correct?
Correct.
And that would be obviously from...
Okay, hang on just for a second. As y'all realize, when you are in an emergency room in a situation like this, all clothing is usually cut off. They do not take the time to gently take your clothes off. They are checking for injuries, etc. So him trying to infer something was worse than it was because they had to cut a bra off. Just a little reminder. Anyway, thank you for coming in. Please like, share, and subscribe, and hit that little thumbs up on your way in and out. Here we go.
Outside the clothing and then into the bra that was being worn, right?
Correct.
That was off of these, Judge?
Any objection?
They're already in evidence. They've been marked, so I don't see that it's necessary to mark them again. They're the same photographs.
Well, I'll trust the representation there in evidence. I don't want to quote the court. So if they're already in evidence, then that's...
I just admitted them through.
Yeah.
Second one.
But the bottom line is that you do...
Yes, Cinderella, it is a waste of time.
blood on the interior and exterior clothing that she was wearing, right?
That's correct.
It also agrees, sir, that there was blood in the area from the outside of the backyard directly underneath the window. Is that correct? Do you agree with that if you remember looking at it?
That is correct.
All because most of the testimony so far has been that the cuts on her wrist and the cuts on her neck were nothing more than superficial. He's trying to hone in that, oh no, these were severe. On the day she went to the hospital, they did not even suture up her wrist until the next day, and they never sutured up her neck. So really, how bad were those cuts? Here we go, guys. Thanks.
The ground, the snow, and the leaves that were underneath. Of course, there are a lot of people walking around.
Here we go.
Blood
Correct.
directly underneath the window, right?
The back window.
You notice blood was on the window sill itself on the second floor, one mark on that window ledge.
Yes.
You also noted blood that at some point had gone onto the two shingles that were in the area underneath that ledge, underneath that window, right?
Correct.
And off of the blood on the floor, on the ground with the EMT documents.
No objection.
All right, that may be admitted.
Thank you. Now, the state police went and got a search warrant, right?
Correct.
And you were there when they were searching.
Correct.
You guys were helping out. Obviously, it was a group effort to search the house for relevant or material evidence, right?
Correct.
Now, one of the things that was seized were pill bottles. Is that right?
Correct.
You know why they were seized?
I do not.
Did you seize any pill bottles?
I did not.
Were you there when the state police seized the pill bottles?
I was.
Do you recall that the pill bottles were seized from, for example, in the kitchen? You opened the cabinet and they were right on, a bunch of them lined up on a shelf.
I can't attest to that. I wasn't at
Let
that.
me ask you this, where did they get the pill bottles from?
You'd have to ask them. I wasn't there when they seized the bottles.
You weren't there. when
I
they
wasn't
seized-
in that room. We were in
Okay.
multiple rooms at a time.
So I may stand corrected. I'm sorry. If I thought I asked you if you were there when the state police were seizing the bottles, and I thought you said you were.
I was in the house, correct.
In the house, but
Yes.
you weren't there when they were seizing anything.
Correct.
How about up in the bedroom? Did you go up in the bedroom?
I did.
Did you observe the blood on the floor?
I did.
Hey, Leslie. So good to see you this morning. I hope you're feeling better.
Cold, right?
Yes.
You doing okay?
Obviously, because the window was open, right?
Correct.
And when you went into the bedroom, you made observations as a detective of certain items, such as, does this appear to be a fair, accurate rendition of the floor, blood drops on the floor?
It
In the
does.
bedroom.
Yes.
Is this a indication of the bed itself, the right side of the bed, additional blood that was located on the floor next to the boots?
Yes.
Does this appear to be the nightstand that was next to the bed?
It does.
And do you see what's on top of the nightstand?
Yes.
What's on top of the nightstand?
There's 2 cups, a knife,
Oh, good.
a jar or something, and maybe a clock.
So happy to see you.
Drops?
Correct.
This is a additional photograph moving farther down towards the right side of the bed.
Correct.
This is a close-up of the knife that was on the nightstand, as well as the little cup that was there, and something that says deep sleep pillow spray. You see that?
Yep.
And that was on that top of the furniture.
You know, this is so strange. They're first talking about he went to the hospital, that she had some cuts, etc. Yeah, Cinderella says, I'm sorry, this makes no difference in my opinion. Are they trying to prove she's nuts? Well, or unfit? Well, the reason why he's bringing this out right now is because every one of the first responders has said, oh, her cuts were just superficial. We did not even stitch her wrist up until day 2, and they never stitched her neck up. He's trying to bring all these pictures. Oh no, they weren't bleeding at the time they picked her up because her body was too cold. Or, oh no, look at all this blood all over the place. Everybody knows when you first cut your finger, it's going to bleed. Everybody knows when you first cut anything, it's going to bleed. Does it eventually stop? Yes. Is it life-threatening? No, because it stopped bleeding. So it is nothing more than superficial. Here we go. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be screaming at y'all, but I had to turn it up enough so that you could hear it because they are not using microphones in that courtroom. So if it's too loud when I'm talking, let me know. I don't want to blow your ears out. Thank you, guys. Here we go.
Correct.
This again is area depicting various items of clothing. It looks like a little headband, wire, perhaps the tragic phone, and blood on the floor.
Correct.
And this shows the location of the bed. Additional photograph of the blood towards the end of the bed and also the area of the window, right?
Correct.
Off of these, Judge.
No, back to that photograph.
Can I see counsel?
Oh my goodness. With all the objections that's going to happen today between these two, defense and prosecution, it's going to slow everything down. I doubt if we see more than 5 witnesses today. Out of 161, we're on witness number 12. Good Lord. I'm sorry, witness number 11. Sorry. It is some hot today in Texas, I'll tell you right now. It'll be triple digits. I think 105. Which makes the heat index about 115.
That may be a minute.
Angle, but basically the boots that I already showed you and the blood showing that the blood kind of follows through the edge of the up to the wall.
Correct.
Was there also, like, if you recall, one of those full-length mirrors?
I don't recall.
No. I don't.
All right. Any objection on that? All right, those pictures may be admitted.
Okay. Oh, I wish it was raining here, Cinderella.
You had nothing to do.
Hold on a second, counsel. Just gonna mark these.
My baby's coming home to spend the night with us tonight. I'm so excited. We're doing his birthday tomorrow with his grandma. He'll be 19.
127 through 135.
So you had nothing to do with the seizure of any of the pill bottles, sir?
Correct.
And you don't have a memory of looking in the cabinet
Jill?
and seeing a number of journals or spiral-bound notebooks and books?
Correct.
Was that pretty much the extent of your involvement with this case that night?
That, yes.
And you really didn't get involved with any further investigation on this matter?
Thank you.
As far as seizing evidence, except for what you've testified to, right?
We did seize, I located a laptop in the hallway closet,
Okay,
and that was, I believe, seized by the state police as well.
okay. Anything else you recall? How about, do you remember when you guys were searching or you watched the state police searching, did they open up Nightstand that was next to the bed. A number of pill bottles in it.
Again, I wasn't present when that was taken, so I can't attest to that.
How about Apple Watch? No.
I don't recall.
Attorney Buckingham, can you redirect?
Sir, when you were at the hospital with Lindsay Clancy, with the defendant, were the medical staff in the emergency department actively treating the wounds to her neck and her wrists?
No, they were not.
And when you came back to the home at 47 Summer Street to secure the scene and wait for crime scene services, nobody went into the house that didn't need to be there before crime scene services, correct?
Correct.
In your experience, is that normal?
Yes.
And so were you present when any of the photographs that were shown to you by defense counsel were taken?
I don't believe so.
Okay. So your testimony today about those photos is your best memory of what the scene looked like at that time?
Yes.
And as far as your role in the search warrant execution, fair to say there were quite a number of state police, Duxbury officers, as well as crime scene troopers on scene in the house during that. And each person, did they have their own kind of role in what they were doing?
Correct.
And did you kind of stay to your area?
Yes.
And you indicated that you only found a laptop in the first floor closet, correct?
Correct.
And so any of the other manners in which the rooms were searched, you were not a part of?
Correct.
Thank you, nothing further.
You didn't have to stay to your area as a detective in the Duxbury
Listen to him.
Department, did you?
Correct.
So you were able to go and assist with the search and go into the different rooms and look for potential evidence, right?
That's correct.
And do you remember approximately how many Duxbury police officers were in or about the house, either outside, on the porch, on the deck, in the house, downstairs, upstairs?
I don't.
Would it be more than 10?
No, I wouldn't say more than 10.
What's that got to do with it?
How many there were of them?
No.
So all told, when you consider that, the sheriff's department wasn't there too, were they, if you recall?
No,
Okay,
they were
sometimes
not.
they send them to take pictures. I don't know if they, okay. Would you agree that there were probably more than 10 officers from state police and Duxbury police that would be doing this investigation?
Correct.
All right. A number of police cruisers, and then you have perhaps, just asking, the yellow tape,
Yes.
crime scene, don't pass it and all that.
Correct.
Now, if I was, for example, to show up and pull up in my car and get out, and they're not going to let me wander in the house and look around, are they?
Correct.
I mean, that's just for law enforcement officers only until they clear the scene.
Correct.
That's after they execute their search warrants and find whatever evidence is relevant, in their opinion,
Correct.
that they seize, right?
Yes.
Once the scene is clear, then people are able to go back into the home, right?
Right.
And you don't know, I would imagine, when they cleared the scene.
Correct.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Anything on that? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your
All
Honor.
right. Moving on to witness number 12 for the defense to object to. He will object.
Richard Lepard.
Okay, Richard. You see how to spell his last name. They look so uncomfortable walking in. Their feet is not looking good.
All right, good afternoon, sir. All right. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you please tell the jury first name?
Richard Lepard,
And can you spell your last name for the record?
Lippard.
And how are you employed?
I work for the Duxbury Police Department.
And how long have you been a police officer?
6.5 years,
Have you worked for Duxbury the entire time, or did you work someplace else?
the entire time.
What's your current assignment at the Duxbury Police?
Patrolman.
Back in January of 2023, were you also on patrol then?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you working the day of January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
At some point while you were on shift that day, were you asked to assist in an ongoing investigation for an incident that occurred at 47 Summer Street in Duxbury?
Yes. I was called back in.
You were called back in?
Yep.
Had you finished your shift?
Yes, ma'am.
And so where were you asked to go?
To the police department.
When you came to the police department, where did they direct you to go as far as the investigation went?
South Shore Hospital in Weymouth.
And so when you arrived at South Shore Hospital, was there already another Duxbury officer there?
Detective Mafia was there.
Okay. And what was the purpose of you going to South Shore Hospital?
To overwatch the person in custody.
Okay, and did you learn who that person was?
Yes.
And fair to say that individual was a woman by the name of Lindsay Clancy, correct?
Yes.
What were your observations of her when you were at South Shore Hospital?
She seemed to be sedated, not speaking or anything on the hospital bed, just laying there.
And excuse me, when you were there or during the time that you were there, did you ever have any conversation with her?
No.
Did she remain unresponsive during the time that you were there?
Yes.
And were you also there when somebody came in and took some photographs of her?
I do not recall.
Were medical staff tending to her during the time that you were with her?
Yes.
Where in the South Shore Hospital was this? The emergency department or someplace else?
Emergency department.
And shortly after you were there observing her, did she or did the doctors indicate she was going to be transported someplace else?
Yes.
Where was she going to go?
That she was going to be med-flighted to the Brigham in Boston.
And other than yourself or other law enforcement and medical staff, did anyone speak with her at the South Shore Hospital?
No.
And when you, when she was transported to the hospital in Boston, did you go along with the transport?
Yes.
Do you remember how she was transported?
It was a med-flight helicopter.
So you rode in the helicopter with her?
Yes.
And when you arrived at the Brigham in Boston, where did she go there?
She went to the emergency room.
Did you remain with her during that time period?
Correct.
And was there anyone else with you at the Brigham with her?
Officer Broderick.
And so the two of you were, what was your role?
Just to overwatch and stay with her.
At any point when you were with her at the Brigham, did she ever, was she ever awake or responsive?
No, not to my knowledge.
And how long were you at the Brigham with her?
About 15 to 16 hours.
Okay, so fair to say it was over the course of that night into the next morning?
Yes, ma'am.
Over the course of the night into the next morning, do you observe her medical status change?
There was some type of medical code during the nighttime. I'm not sure what it was.
Okay, but you were present in the room when that happened?
Yes, we were outside the room.
Outside?
Yeah.
And the next morning, when your shift concluded, did somebody else from the Duxbury Police Department come and relieve you?
Yes.
During the time that you were there, did anyone besides medical staff or the law enforcement officers that you were with interact with the defendant?
No.
Thank you. Nothing further.
Mr. Reddington.
Morning.
Morning.
Afternoon. So, young man working for the town of Duxbury, and you were detailed to the home initially, correct?
No, sir.
You didn't go to the house at all?
No, sir.
Okay, you went directly to South Shore.
Correct.
And when you were at South Shore, your purpose was to, as you say, overwatch. Well, that basically is she was in custody at that point, right?
Correct.
So one of your obligations is to, I guess, guard the unconscious person and make sure to do what? Just to stand there?
Correct.
Okay. And you did in the South Shore Hospital, right?
Yes, sir.
And you made your observations of her, bandaged or whatever, laying in the bed, and she was not conscious, correct?
Correct.
And at some point, the decision was made medically that they were going to have her med-flighted to the Boston Hospital, Brigham and Women's, right?
Correct.
And that was by way of the helicopter.
Yes, sir.
You had a helicopter ride into Boston with her, right?
Yes, sir.
You were overwatching her in the helicopter again, right?
Yes, sir.
She still had not gained consciousness at all.
Correct.
She wasn't talking to you or medical staff or anybody, right?
Correct.
She was already had the tubes and stuff in her mouth coming out, and she was bandaged up and wrapped up and basically laying down in the gurney in the helicopter, right?
Yes, sir.
So when she gets to Brigham and Women's Hospital, they bring her into the emergency room, right?
Yes.
And that room was loaded with equipment, boxes, wires, tubes, buzzing, beeps, lights, things of that nature, right?
Yes.
Life-saving equipment that was in there, right?
Yes.
Very small room, wasn't it?
Yes.
Kind of hard to maneuver.
There was enough space for the medical staff to maneuver.
All right. And how many police officers were overwatching the unconscious person while she was in the emergency room at Brigham and Women?
2.
That would be you and the other officer from Duxbury.
Yes, sir.
At what point did the state police officers arrive in the hospital?
I don't recall them coming to the hospital.
Did you ever see state police in the hospital?
Possibly at South Shore Hospital, but not in Boston.
So you're in Brigham and Women's, off of the helicopter into the emergency room for a day, is that correct?
Correct. 16 hours.
Did you go back there again after that day?
To South Shore Hospital?
No, Brigham and Women's Hospital.
No.
So you're limited to the time that you were there as to you and your brother officer were there in the room with her, correct?
Yes.
And a number of nurses and doctors, right?
Yes.
Fair to say it was chaos. It was like bedlam in that room, wasn't it?
Yes, very busy.
And you don't remember any other police officers? How about internal police officers from Brigham and Women's Hospital? Do you recall them being there?
There may have been security, but I do not recall.
So is it your testimony that you do not recall any other police being in that room or outside the room when you were there?
Correct.
Now, at some point, police were detailed, if you know, to sit outside the room to guard the door. Is that correct?
Yes.
And what were you guarding against?
No, overall.
Anybody coming to visit?
Right, because nobody was allowed to visit, right?
Correct.
And then while you were there in the early morning hours, about 2:24 or something like that, there was, as you said to the jury, a code, right?
Yes.
And again, that kind of amped up the bedlam at that point, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
There were people running from all over, and you could hear on the microphone, code blue, with the room being identified, right?
Yes.
And that meant that she was dead or dying, right?
Yes.
She was chained to the hospital bed too, wasn't she?
I do not recall her being handcuffed.
You don't?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you recall when you left?
The Brigham, sir?
Yes.
Next morning around 10, from what I remember.
Okay. And you were relieved by who?
Officer Daly from the Duxbury Police Department and Officer Johnson from the Duxbury Police Department.
All right. So you've got 2 Duxbury police officers. And there, to your memory, were there any other law enforcement officers?
Not with them, no.
How about on their own? Did you observe other law enforcement officers come in that room or outside the room?
No, sir.
And then that was the end of your shift and you left?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. You sit down. Thank you.
All right. Next is going to be witness number 13.
Commonwealth calls Dr. Mark Henowitz.
Just for the record, Your Honor, I'm just voting object to this, agree the circumstances.
Do you want to go to sidebar?
Yeah, please. Would you?
Oh, goodness. Sidebar. Again, I wonder why. They're just trying to keep her from getting upset again. Remember, the victim are the children, not her. She's not the victim. Okay. Exactly. I don't have any sympathy for her, Leslie. I just don't. I mean, okay, yeah, she's paralyzed, but she did it to herself. Oh, here we go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Look at their feet. It's kind of bad. Not stable.
All right, good afternoon, Doctor. Afternoon, sir.
If I may.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Mark Joseph Tenarowitz, MARK-JOSEPH-TENEROWICZ,
And what is your date of birth, sir?
22869.
What do you do for a living?
I was an emergency physician. I'm currently not acting as an emergency physician.
What do you currently do?
I do disability review for the state of Rhode Island.
And so directing your attention back to January of 2023, were you an emergency room physician at that time?
Yes, I was.
And where did you work?
Beth Israel Deaconess, Plymouth.
And could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational background and the training that you underwent to qualify to be an emergency room physician?
I did my undergraduate education at Trinity College. I did a one-year post-baccalaureate pre-medical program at Bryn Mawr College. I then got my medical degree from Brown University, and I did my residency in emergency medicine at UMass Memorial in Worcester.
And when you finished your education and training, did you work in emergency care after that point up until you changed positions?
I worked in emergency medicine from 1997 until May of 2025.
And directing your attention to January 24th, 2023, were you working in the evening hours that day?
I was.
And at some point in time, did you treat a child named Dawson Clancy?
Yes.
How did he arrive at the hospital?
He arrived by fire department ambulance.
And when he arrived, were you given a summary of his injuries by emergency personnel?
Yes.
What did you learn at that time?
I was told that he reportedly had been strangled and he was found without a pulse and not breathing.
And what observations did you make
Trigger
of
warning.
Dawson yourself?
When he arrived, he had a breathing tube in. They had placed a device into the bone of his leg to give him intravenous fluids and medicines. CPR was in progress. He was not breathing on his own and he had no pulse and was not responding.
And did you observe any trauma to his body?
I believe there were some old appearing bruises on his legs and there was some ruptured blood vessels on his face.
And did you observe anything in the area of his neck?
Not that I can recall.
And what did you do to treat Dawson?
We continued CPR. We continued to give him IV fluids. We gave him doses of adrenaline to try and restart his heart. We confirmed that the breathing tube was in the right position. We eventually gave medicines to treat the presumed acid buildup in his blood. We gave him calcium to make sure that his heart would, if it started again, would beat effectively. And that's what we did.
And how did you go about making sure that the breathing apparatus was in place properly?
Basically 4 ways. We detected carbon dioxide in the air coming out of his lungs, which usually just comes from the lungs. I listened and could hear breath sounds. I looked with a video laryngoscope to confirm that the tube was between the vocal cords going into the lungs, and we did an x-ray.
And when you say you were hearing breath sounds, was that him breathing on his own or something else breathing for him?
That it was someone breathing for him, squeezing the bag attached
Mm,
to the tube.
so
And so that
terrible.
the breath sounds you heard just confirmed that whoever was squeezing the bag valve mask, the air from that was going into the lungs and then carbon
That's
dioxide was coming out.
He was not breathing spontaneously.
Okay.
Oh.
And are you, while all of this is happening, are you continuing to assess him and his condition?
Yes.
And what were your assessments?
So we would stop periodically every several minutes to very briefly check to see if he was breathing on his own or if he had a pulse.
So sad.
And he was not at any point. At one point, towards the end of the resuscitation, I used an ultrasound to determine if his heart was beating effectively, and there was no evidence of that.
And based on your training and experience, at some point in time, did you make a determination that your efforts weren't going to be successful?
I did, based on the time from when resuscitative efforts started in the field by the paramedics and the time that we put in, and the fact that despite the best resuscitative efforts we could, the fluids, the medicines, the CPR, breathing for him, it did not look like his heart would ever start again.
Approximately how long did you and your team work on Dawson?
I believe we worked on Dawson about 40 minutes in addition to what the paramedics had done previously.
At any point in time, did you try to use a defibrillator?
I did not.
And why is that?
He was unfortunately never in a heart rhythm that would have made defibrillation an effective treatment.
So your heart has to be in a certain condition for a defibrillator to even work?
Yes, there are 2 heart rhythms, basically equivalent of the heart, that if you use a defibrillator, you can restore a rhythm that makes the heart beat effectively. He was never in one of those rhythms.
And at some point in time, did you declare Dawson deceased?
Yes.
Okay. And do you recall when that was?
I believe from my review of the records recently, it was at 1928.
In 1928, would that be 7:28 p.m.?
That's correct.
Thank you, doctor.
Mr. Reddington.
Afternoon. You indicated that you observed what appeared to be older bruises to his legs, his lower
Yes.
legs, that like shin area? That
Yes.
And you also had an interosseous device, I think, is that what you said?
Yes, he did.
And that would require inserting a needle or something into the actual shin bone area?
Yes, into the tibia.
Thank you, sir. That's all I have.
All right. Anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, it's gonna move pretty fast, I think now. We're gonna be witness number 14. Come on, guys. Come on back.
All right. Good afternoon, doctor.
Another doctor, okay.
Just note, same objection.
Of course he's gonna object.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon. Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
It's Benjamin Kaufman, BenjaminKaufman.
And your date of birth, sir?
September 10th, 1984.
What do you do for a living?
I'm an emergency medicine doctor.
How long have you been doing that?
About 12 years.
Could you briefly describe for the jurors your educational and training background that qualifies you for that role?
Yeah, I went to Boston University for medical school, and then Kings County for residency training, and then Columbia for fellowship in global emergency medicine.
And where do you currently work?
Beth Israel in Plymouth.
And back in January of 2023, did you work there?
I did.
And specifically on January 24th, 2023, were you working that evening?
I was.
And while you were working that evening, did you treat a patient named Callan Clancy?
Yes, that was my patient.
And do you recall how he arrived at the hospital?
Yes, with the EMS, with CPR ongoing.
And is it typical that when EMS arrive with a patient, they give you kind of a summary or a rundown of the patient's condition?
It is.
And did they give you that rundown on Callan's condition?
They did. He, at the time, his heart had stopped and CPR was ongoing, and he was not breathing. He was receiving breaths via bag valve mask ventilation.
And what did you do in terms of treating Callan?
So as soon as he came in, basically we put in a breathing tube, and we were able to get an IV established. The first thing that we do is give a dose of epinephrine. And in this case, you can look directly at the heart with an ultrasound, and his heart started beating after we were able to give that dose. At that point, we continued compressions, continued giving him breaths through the breathing tube, and Plymouth Hospital doesn't have pediatrics or the ability to care for that level of pediatric patients. So we're on the phone with Boston Children's Hospital, making preparations basically to get him to the more definitive care.
And about how long into your care of Callan did he regain a heartbeat?
Probably from the time that he got to the ER, maybe like 10 minutes or so. I'm
Hmm.
guessing.
At any point in time, did he regain the ability to breathe on his own while he was in your care?
No.
Did you do any examination or testing to determine Callan's brain function?
So at no point did he exhibit any brain function. I'm not like a neurologist, so we are not the definitive person, but in emergency medicine, there's a scale called the Glasgow Coma Scale, which is generally from 3 to 15. There's different variations for pediatrics, but he scored the lowest, which basically is you're in a coma or have no brain response during the entire time that he was in my care.
So on that scale, the 3 to 15, 15, would that be someone who's walking and talking and acting normally?
That's correct.
And a 3, is that someone with no brain function?
That is correct.
And you have that Callan was at a 3 when you treated him?
At no time during his care did he have any brain function that was evident on my exam.
And at some point in time, was it decided to transfer his care to Boston Children's Hospital?
Yes, we were in contact with him basically immediately, and then he was flown by helicopter to Boston Children's Hospital, and the whole time the ICU doctors were on the phone reviewing the case and making recommendations.
And at any point in time, to your knowledge, from the time he entered the emergency department at Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth until he arrived at Boston Children's Hospital, was he able to breathe on his own?
No.
Thank you, doctor.
All right, counsel.
I have no questions. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, doctor.
All right. Moving on to witness number 15. Sometimes I think they do work on kids they shouldn't. Here we go. Let's see. I wonder if she's a neurologist or a nurse.
Hi, good afternoon. Attorney Buckingham, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please tell the jurors your first and last name?
Melissa Acadipane.
Can you spell your last name for the record?
Arcadipane.
And did you work for South Shore Hospital?
Yes.
And what was your role at South Shore Hospital?
My last role was a supervisor of the specimen processing department in the laboratory.
And do you still work
terrible.
in that role?
Just terrible.
Back in 2023, specifically January,
Thank you, Leslie.
were you in that role?
Yes.
And how long had you worked for, or have you worked for South Shore Hospital over the course of the years?
Over 20 years.
You said that you were the specimen processing supervisor?
Correct.
What are the general responsibilities for that role?
Overseeing the department where all of the specimens from within the hospital and even outside of the hospital will come in through that department to be received, checked, make sure they have orders, make sure they're collected in the correct tube.
And the laboratory at South Shore Hospital is responsible for processing blood samples, urine samples that come from other areas of the hospital, correct?
Correct.
So can you just generally tell us how a blood or urine sample would come from the emergency department at South Shore Hospital to the laboratory?
So in most cases, blood sample or urine will come through a pneumatic tube system from the emergency room. They'll put it in a tube, hit a button, and it will come over to the lab, which was across the street. And we would take it out of that canister and process it at that point.
And the specimens that are collected in a place like the emergency department are done by a nurse or technician who takes the samples, puts them in the appropriate vial or tube, and labels them, correct?
Correct.
And so when they come to you through that pneumatic system, what does your laboratory do with the samples?
Well, we check the sample, make sure it's labeled, make sure it's in the correct tube, and then we would process it.
And traditionally, would your laboratory receive several samples, meaning several vials of blood or urine from one patient?
They could, yes.
And as far as the orders for testing, you at the laboratory would only run particular tests that are ordered by a physician, correct?
Correct.
Does that usually consume the whole sample that you receive from the emergency department?
Not always, no.
And so would it be a common procedure that samples from a particular patient would be retained in case additional testing needed to be done?
Yes.
And working in the lab as the specimen processing supervisor, are you familiar with what is referred to as a preservation notice?
I am.
What do you know that to be?
So that is a notice that we would receive from a law enforcement agency asking us to hold specific samples for a particular patient.
And what would your laboratory do when you receive a preservation notice for a particular patient?
So the samples would be pulled aside, they would be put in a specimen bag. A copy of that preservation notice gets put in the bag with the samples, and it is put in a separate bin within the specimen refrigerator.
And the specimen refrigerator, is that a place that specimens are stored until they're either used or discarded?
Correct.
And does that preserve the specimen?
Meaning they need to be refrigerated. So, but we separate those specimens that potentially could be needed elsewhere into a separate spot so that they don't get discarded.
Now, were you aware that a preservation notice had been served on South Shore Hospital for the blood and urine of Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023?
I was.
And were those samples of blood and urine collected in the same manner you just described and put in a separate bin?
Yes.
Okay, since they're collecting these samples, they're sending them over to the lab. How many of you guys want to bet with me? Well, we shouldn't bet. That's kind of rude because of the type of case it is. But we're going to hear exactly what was in her blood, and it's going to be a large amount of benzos, not as prescribed. You want to take a bet on it? We really shouldn't. I know that sounds terrible, but I just feel like that had a lot to do with what she did, not a psychosis. Okay, here we go.
And on January 31st, 2023, did you have the opportunity to interact with a trooper from the Massachusetts State Police?
I did.
And what was that interaction? Can you describe it to us?
He came with a warrant to collect the specimens.
And so did you collect the specimens that were labeled for Lindsay Clancy?
I did. Somebody had already put them in that bin in a bag, so I just went to the bin, retrieved them, made sure they were hers, and gave them to the officer.
And in fact, you handed over 6 vials of blood and 1 vial of urine to the trooper on that day, correct?
I don't remember the exact samples or sample type that I handed over, but I do know that I gave him samples.
Okay. And as far as your memory, you recall that you double checked the ID label on the items to make sure that they belong to Lindsay Clancy.
Definitely.
Okay. Nothing further. Thank you.
Counsel?
No questions, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So she preserved the lab. Now we're going to hear what was in the vials. Wow.
Your Honor, at this time, the Commonwealth would move to submit the certified medical records from Beth Israel Deaconess in Plymouth for Cora Clancy, Dawson Clancy, and Callan Clancy in one binder.
No objection.
All right, they may be admitted.
Turn on the tears, lady. We know.
Yes.
Oh, God, don't go to lunch yet. It is 12:41 in Massachusetts. Cinderella and Leslie, yeah, you agree with me. And Cinderella says, I agree, but they have policy. Right, I know. I just think that, and I understand they have to do what they have to do, but even if they would have brought them back, I wonder, well, I'm not going to talk about that. We'll not talk about it. We'll leave it where it's at. Okay. All right. So we're learning new things today, and like I have feelings of like, oh my God, okay, something was definitely wrong with her, but what was it, right? We know she was not within a normal mind, so I just know that they're moving through these witnesses pretty fast this morning, but I bet it slows down once we get to hearing the lab reports explaining what they mean. And that's the part I'm looking forward to today. Can you believe it's Friday already? The week has flown by. Actually, today's the last day of July as well. Tomorrow is August the 1st. It's like January the 1st was just like last week. It amazes me as we age how much faster things move, or we perceive them to move faster. Okay. Get rid of that. We'll close some of these other things. Get them out of the way. There we go. And you notice the defense attorney, every time they call a witness, he says he objects, standing. He just has like a standing objection to all.
In talking to counsel, we are going to break it today. All right? What's talking about over here is in regards to the schedule where we are. We are,
oh my God.
If not on schedule, at a schedule. All right? And much of it is because of the work when you're not here. Council is going over these exhibits and some of that, and that's part of some of these breaks.
Damn it.
At least for you. All right, so I just kind of want to let you know that's what's going on. So I'm gonna excuse you. I know it's been a long week. Anyway, so we're gonna take a break. All right. And on Monday, the schedule anticipation will start about 9, maybe a little bit later than that. But I ask you to be here ready to go at 9. There's some matters I may have to talk to counsel, so it might be a little bit late start for you on Monday. And then the anticipations will go most of the day. All right. Like I said, we are well on schedule, if not ahead. What I want to remind you now, which you know I'm going to remind you, that you're going to be not here for a couple of days. It's very important. You've heard some of the evidence. You haven't heard all of the evidence. All right, you haven't heard the law that you will apply to this. So you have to keep an open mind. And the best way to do that is don't talk about this with anyone. Don't do any research. Don't watch anything. If something comes on, turn it off. And just like I said, if you're talking to somebody who brings up, blame me. All right. The judge said I'm not to talk about it. I'm not to listen to anybody talking about this and shut them down right away. I appreciate all the work that you've put in here so far. I look forward to seeing you on Monday. I hope you have a nice weekend, and we'll see you there. All right, thank you.
All right.
Okay. He does look mean. Thank you. Okay. One last look at her. There you go, guys. There she is. Now, all right, I'm going to turn that off. We're going to come back over and talk for a few minutes. So stage so you can see me. Okay, so yes, Cinderella says, I'm sorry, even if she was in a drug psychosis, she still unalived her kids. Why does she think she deserves this? And you know, the lawyer looks mean. She does look mean. The lawyer does look mean. Okay, I don't like the fact that we're having to stop so many different times. Why are we stopping so many different times? What in the world? Is it because they know that these next few witnesses are going to be explaining exactly what was in that blood and it's going to make her look real bad? Is he going to file motions to try to stop them from bringing this out into court? I mean, what in the world? It's making no sense why they stopped today. I don't understand it. And I think if these jurors have to feel like, my God, you're abusing me. I mean, you just keep on and on. You keep stopping and going. But I know. They're just all doing their job. And as it looks today, it's not looking very good for her. As far as I'm concerned, and I know other people may think different, and that's okay too, but this attorney, her attorney is just really trying to shut down the fact that the wrist and the neck did not even require sutures on that day. That's how bad they were. I mean, look at all this blood. That's how bad they were. No, they weren't that bad. Anyway, so I guess we're going to shut this down for the day. we'll be back here Monday morning, bright and early, to talk about the Lindsay Clancy case, because it's going to start back up at 9 o'clock their time, which is 8 o'clock my time, and I am going to bring it to you live. Again, so far it's been so much fun having my people come in and let's talk about it. I mean, it's long, but that's okay. Oh, wait a minute. I think he has a golfing game. Oh, that's funny, Cinderella. Oh my goodness. Too funny. Love it. Okay. But I am going to come back live later with something else that I had planned on talking about. I would love to get a panel together this weekend to talk about what we've seen so far from the witnesses on the Clancy case. I just don't know if I can get like Jim Liu and over at the board and Alex Erickson from Real Talk and maybe a couple of others to join in so we could have a panel about it. Even if my mods want to come up and join the panel, I welcome that because we're all watching the same thing. So I would love to talk to other people about what they say, what they think. Yeah. So have a great weekend. If I don't see you later today, have a great weekend. Thank you for coming in. And as I always say to you guys, take care of yourself. Be careful out there. Go hug your babies. And you know why? If life is short and our time with them is a little shorter. And I just want to make sure nobody misses an opportunity to tell somebody you love that you love them. So I'll see you guys later, bright and early on Monday, but I am going to come back live with something else later. So see you. Enjoy. Bye.